Hey guys, I'm back with one last Valentine's Day project before Valentine's Day later in the week. For this project, I will be using a couple of the stamps from the Simon Says Stamp Limited Edition Valentine's Day kit. Now the kit is sold out, but the stamps that I'm using are available for purchase separately. So I'm going to try my hand at creating a custom candle by using these stamps and coloring with my markers. This is a little bit different than what I do, but I thought I'd try stepping out of my comfort zone and just trying something a little bit different. To start this project, I'm creating a sort of like a template, which will help me tremendously when I start coloring. So I started by using the two little foxes, and I stamped that onto just a piece of cardstock. And then I'm taking the sentiment, and I'm using my Memento Tuxedo ink to do all the stamping. And the sentiment says, "My heart is yours." And since I had two candles, I thought I'd try two projects. And this little sloth is so cute, I just could not pass up the opportunity to create a candle for him too. So I've stamped the image, and then I'm using the sentiment from the big stamp set, and it just reads, "I love you." Once I have my template created, I'm taking a piece of tissue paper, and this is just really the cheap tissue paper I get from the dollar store. This one had like a shiny side and a more dull side, and I'm going to do all of the stamping on the shiny side. I honestly don't know if it makes a difference, but this is what worked for me. So I took some temporary adhesive and I just attached my tissue paper kind of taut on top of my template, and then I'm going to use my Misty to ensure that I get the correct stamping, and I'll stamp right on top of that tissue paper, and that is what I'm going to color on. So I'll do it again for the foxes, and I'm just adhering the tissue paper down with some temporary adhesive, and then I can trim off some of that excess. And then I'll use my Misty again to ensure that I get a nice outline the first time around. I honestly wasn't sure if double stamping would work or would not, so I didn't want to take any chances, and I just wanted to be sure that I stamped the image out the first time correctly. Okay, so now I've got the templates stamped and I'm ready to start coloring. I chose 4 different colors to color in the foxes, and I'm just shading from darkest to lightest. It wasn't too difficult to get the blend on this paper, but what I've noticed is that you want to work a little bit faster than normal. It seems like the ink dries up just a little bit faster than it would normally, and so I just did small sections and I blended over and over again. Never once did I have any like paper peeling or any kind of rips or anything, so layering up several layers of ink was just fine. So once I color in each section, I kind of lift the tissue paper off of my template just to see if I have any harsh lines or any kind of noticeable unblended areas, because it was a little bit difficult to notice those on top of the tissue paper. And then, of course, when I colored in Mr. Fox, I didn't notice that the front belly part was colored in incorrectly. I think typically they're white, but in my world, Mr. Fox is all orange. And so when I messed up on the first one, I had to mess up on the second one. So I colored in Mrs. Fox exactly the same way. And then I just add a touch of the cool grays just to give some of the white part a little bit shading. And then of course I colored Mrs. Fox in exactly the same way, and I colored in the red heart. Here I'm just adding some grass with a couple of different shades of green, just to give it a little bit of a background and so they're not just floating in air. And then I decided we're going to add a little bit of a sky, and I'm just scribbling a couple of different shades of blue in the background around my main images. And when I add that to the candle, it's very subtle, but it is noticeable, so I'm kind of glad I did add the background to my image. So I've got them both done now, and I can start adding it to the candle. So first I'm taking the paper, and I'm just very carefully tearing the edges. My understanding is you don't really want straight edges. You kind of want little rips because it's easier to blend into the candle. And so once I have that done, I can take a piece of parchment paper, and that will just protect my candle from melting too fast. And then I'm going to align my image on top of the candle, and I will wrap the candle with the parchment paper, and I try to get it as smooth as possible, but I have tiny hands and it's a little bit difficult to hold all that in place. And then I heat up my heating tool, and I'm constantly moving the tool across the candle, and when you see the area turn more shiny than what it is, the tissue paper has melted into the wax. And then slowly remove the parchment paper, and your image is now on top of your candle. Again, I'm removing the tissue paper from the template, and then I'm just gonna carefully rip around the edge of the sentiment and around my background that I've created. I'm trying not to have any white lines. And if you just go slowly, one little section at a time, you should not get any huge rips into the main part of the background or the image. And then I'll take my candle and I'll align my paper. And then I take a fresh piece of parchment paper and I wrap that right around my candle, and I'm trying to keep it kind of tight, kind of taut, and smooth out any bubbles. Again, small hands, big candle, what are you gonna do? And then I've got my heating tool, and I'm just gonna move the tool across my candle, just constantly moving it, not keeping it in one spot too long. And then as the image melts into the candle, it becomes shinier, and that's how I know it's done. And then slowly peel up the parchment paper, and now you have a completed Valentine's Day gift for your sweetie. I have to give props to Alice Keegan for inspiring me to create this type of a project. Some months ago, we did a class over at Kit and Clowder with the candle and coloring, and that was the inspiration behind this one. I'll leave a link down below for her site for more information. And now for my winner of my giveaway from last week. Sarah Gibbs, you are the winner. Congratulations, Sarah. Please contact me with your address at the email below, or pop on over to my website and use the contact me form with that information. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.